Hey there, here we all are, just a few footy fans having some footy fun here on FootyFin. And look, news hot off the press that I want to digest. The St George Illawarra Dragons have sacked their coach, Anthony Hook Griffin. Finally, it's no surprise to myself at least, and no surprise probably to a lot of people. So finally the Dragons can move on and get on with their plans for the future in relation to coaching and development of the club. I just want to discuss a few aspects of Hook's coaching career, and I will actually let you in on a little secret. I know and have previously played with a few fellas who were coached by Hook. Yes, the Rockhampton Brothers reserve grade team. He was a coach in 1990, I think it was, and they won a premiership. So there you have it. A few years later, he popped up in the mid-90s coaching the Redcliffe Dolphins Colts team. And then he went on after other activities. I think he coached Brisbane Norths or their Colts for a while there. He ended up coaching the Redcliffe Dolphins senior team in the Queensland Cup from 05 to 07. They won the Queensland Cup title in 2006. Fast forward a few years, he ends up as Broncos coach in 2011, which was Darren Lockyer's final year as a player at the club, incidentally. He was coach for 4 seasons, and then in 2014, he was basically sacked to make way for the legendary Wayne Bennett to return to the club. So 4 years at the Broncos, from 100 games, only a 53% win record. And I might note that in the first year after Wayne Bennett took over in 2015, he took the Broncos to a grand final. Very unlucky to lose in Golden Point time. Sacked by the Broncos, pops up a year or two later in the Panthers at 2016, coached the Panthers for 3 years. Of course, the Panthers were in a rebuilding phase as a club under the club whisperer Philip Gus Gould at the time. Only 42 wins from 72 games in 3 years under Hook Griffin. Griffin was then sacked by the Panthers, pops up a couple of years later at the Dragons in 2021, and won only 22 from 58 games at the Dragons. That's only a 38% success rate. Overall in his NRL career, just a 52% win rate. So really, it's a toss of a coin. If you're an NRL team and Hook Griffin is your coach across about 230 games, it's a toss of the coin as to whether or not you're going to win. And that's clearly not good enough in the modern NRL environment. And the Dragons have probably made a good decision. But yeah, I have to query the decision making at the top in the Dragons, even to put Hook on in the first place. I mean, when a bloke gets fired from the Broncos and then sacked again by the Panthers a few years later, I would say it's a big gamble to take him on to begin with. And all due respect to Hook, but I would say 3 strikes and you're out. That's probably the end of your NRL head coach aspirations, young man. But maybe he might do very well in the Queensland Cup. Any team could pick him up. Maybe the Western Clydesdales based up in Toowoomba or something into the future. So wish him all the best there. But that's the end of the Hook era at the Dragons at least. And then who knows who they might take on. But one of the front runners would be Jason Riles, who of course played for the Dragons for a number of years. He played Origin, he played for Australia. Went on, played with the Roosters, played with the Storm. Sadly for him, he never won a premiership. But he was assistant coach at the Storm when they won their last premiership under Craig Bellamy. And he even spent a year or two, there's a dog, coaching under Eddie Jones as skills coach for the England national rugby team. Now assistant coach at the Roosters. And who knows, maybe it's part of the Roosters' woes because Riles has one eye on the Dragons job. Anyway, who knows? We'll wait and see. Watch this space. That's it. Thanks for listening. Farewell, Anthony Hook Griffin from the Dragons. And look out for my tips posted on Wednesday evening for round 12. Until then, catch you between the posts.